everybody, welcome to a new Daria video. I know that it has been 84 years since I have last covered Daria, and I sure appreciate you sticking to it with me. I do apologize for any weird sounds that you hear in the background. I am on a family cruise, so I do hope that you enjoy the byproduct of the very big waves outside and the creaking of this massive ship. To celebrate Black History Month, I wanted to do a video about the two token black kids of Lawndale High from the show Daria, which would be Jodie and Mack. Now, before we get into my video, and of course Lawndale's reaction to seeing any kind of people of color,
what are you looking at? Oh, my lucky stars, a Negro. Say what?
Oh, I love that movie so much. For context, Brendan Fraser's character in that movie Blast from the Past was in a bomb shelter his whole life with his mother and father, so he had never seen any other women, or specifically any other women of color. It is a little cringy, but it is funny. I highly recommend that you check that movie out. But going back to my original point, before you watch my video, I did want to recommend some creators within the cartoon video essay space who are people of color. If you wanted to click off of my video and check out their content instead for Black History Month, I would totally encourage you to do so. I just kindly ask that you leave the comment below and that you hit the like button before you venture over to see their videos. With that, I wanted to recommend Shady Durags, Toonrific Tariq, Hariana Hook, Kitty Monk, and Black Wahala. Now, the main reason that we definitely want to talk about Jodie, or especially Jodie and Mack, other than the fact that they are two very well-written characters, is because we received news of a reboot for Daria back in 2018. And as time has gone by, it has evolved into something different. It will now be a movie. It remains to be seen if it will be theatrical or if it's streaming. My guess is going to be that it will be a Paramount Plus exclusive, since Paramount is part of Viacom, which owns MTV, yada yada, all that fun distribution information. According to an article from Essence.com, the film will follow Jodie Landon as she leaves college, moves to a gentrified city, and begins working at a peculiar tech company called Firstfinity. The article on Essence does a great job of summarizing the new characters that we are going to come across. Speaking of, I love that the executive producer and writer will be Grace Edwards. She's a very accomplished Black creator, and she's also worked on The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
That yellow sweater, because the Crips will think you're in the Banana Boys. It's a new gang. There weren't any good colors left. Nice to meet ya!
After doing some digging around on IMDb, we can see that Tracy Ellis Ross will be voicing Jodie. She has an incredible background, and even though the original artist who portrayed Jodie was Jessica Cindy Jackson, doesn't look like she's going to be returning, but I see that there could be a lot of potential here. We also can fall down the hilarious rabbit hole of the fact that Mack once again will have a different voice. In the film, he will be voiced by William Jackson Harper, and I'm really excited about this because I loved The Good Place. Chidi is me because anxiety is life. So I think with his tone of voice that this definitely will work. Michael Jordan Mac Mackenzie, we learned back in season 1 episode 13 that his name changed after his father went to a Bulls playoff game when he was 12. He was voiced by Delon Ferdinand for 5 episodes, Amir Williams for 10 episodes, and Paul Williams for 13 episodes. Tiffany will be voiced by JoJo T. Gibbs, and no, it does not look to be our Tiffany, who talks like this. She was portrayed by Ashley Page Albert, so I think this is a whole new character. I'm super excited that Pamela Adlon will be voicing a character in this project because she's incredible. If you've ever watched King of the Hill, I really don't need to say much more for you since you're watching a cartoon video essay. You already know the clip I'm going to show. Come on.
Don't be afraid to shout it. That's my purse! Try it again. That's my purse! I don't know you!
Here is where I get confused about this series, though, when I look at the information on the press release and IMDb. In the original series, Lisa Collins voiced cheerleader Brittany Taylor, spelled Brittany, and that information is from IMDb. But on this new Jodie product, there is a character, Brittany, Britney, who is voiced by Arden Marin. The article from Essence even profiles her role as this. Arden Marin will play Brittany, the former Lawndale cheerleader from Daria turned influencer at the company Firstfinity. This is where I put on my tinfoil conspiracy hat. I am eager to see some clarification on this, since, her role as an influencer, maybe Brittany, was too hard to spell out with the two T's and the A and the N and the Y. Maybe she changed her name to Brittany, spelled with the T-N-E-Y, to try and catch some SEO off of pop Princess Britney Spears. So draw whatever conclusions you want. I was just very interested to see that, and I'm excited to get some clarification. I know a lot can be said about a white creator making a video about Jodie and Mack, and of course I'm very self-aware of this, but my point of view is that I really just like seeing people different than myself portrayed in the media, and I love the show Daria. The show really does highlight a lack of diversity in upper middle class during the 1990s. From April 1990 to July of 1999, the U.S. Census states that the United States population of black people grew from 12.3% to 12.8%, while Alaskan and American indigenous or native people accounted for less than 1% of the U.S. population. AAPI folks went only from 3% to 4% in growth. The Hispanic community in the USA went from 9% to 11.5%. One of the show's creators said that they pictured Lawndale being a suburb in Maryland, but since it was never declared as canonical, I myself picture it being somewhere between Connecticut and Vermont, especially based off of the colleges that these kids were trying to get into by the end of the series and where they toured. This crop of states from 1990 to 1999 shows that the white population had less than a 0% change. Even if this were to take place in Maryland for this time period, the white population only changed by 0 to 9.9%. So Jodie, Mack, Tiffany, Ms. Lee, and the sprinkling of some other people of color characters in the background was a commentary on these demographics. After watching videos from Black Wahala and Haryana Hook when they covered Jodie, it really did offer me, as a white viewer of Daria, an amazing and different perspective on how someone else views this same exact content differently. Black Wahala talked about the impact of tokenism and how overachieving boils down to a way of life. It's sad that she has to clarify that it is not her job, nor any other black person's job, to follow respectability politics just to be a suitable black representative in predominantly white spaces. Here is a specific reason why I like Jodie. I grew up as an LGBTQA person, and I didn't have a lot of representation in the media myself. In the 1990s, it felt more that being gay or being part of that community was a punchline, and we didn't really talk about it. It took a while to get to where we are right now, even though you could argue that we are regressing again, but that's a story for another day. Even on Daria, for me, I connected with Jodie and Daria equally for different reasons. Again, we know diversity in this show was not great. Racially is one thing, but going back to that GLBTQA space, the only real representation that we got was during Is It Fall Yet? And it was because of the girl who was either pansexual or bisexual trying to manipulate Jane into sleeping with her, and it was a really bad look. That's really awful that that was the representation that we got. There is also a poster for the Middleton Lesbian Chorus in Season 1, Episode 3, when you look at a corkboard of flyers on the college campus when the Morgendorfers are touring there. But this show is seriously lacking in representation, save for a few episodes. I think that's supposed to be the point, to show how isolating it is for Jodie and Mac. We first meet Jodie and Mac in Season 1, Episode 2. While they're at the party, Jodie asks about where the jacuzzi is, and kind of confused about that, but they are teenagers, so I just try to give them that benefit of the doubt. But Jodie truly starts showing up in Season 1, Episode 4. She explains that the theft of the cyber cafe didn't impact her too much, because it only served a certain part of the community. This showed that she was well aware of the gentrification of Lawndale, but it still pissed her off when people took what wasn't theirs. There are a few black folks sitting in the crowd at the reopened Cafe Lawndale later in the episode, which is great, but I don't know if they live in Lawndale or if they were in a neighboring town, but we love to see some inclusion in the picture. Mac always, time and time again, shows that he takes both his football, extracurricular activities, and his academics very seriously. In Season 1, Episode 5, when Brittany and Kevin are having amorous activities behind them on the bus, Jodie asks if it would be a dishonor to Dr. King's memory if she went to the back of the bus. Shouldn't she mean Rosa Parks? I suggest going to billofrightsinstitute.org and look up the Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr., and Montgomery bus boycott. This will help you to clarify the line in the show. I also loved in this same episode Jodie playing up to the discovery that they were unwillingly part of a market research session and able to extort them out of gift cards to spend in that giant mall. I thought that was very clever. The worst thing that Jodie ever did was in Season 1, Episode 6. She skips lunch because she wants to be scouted for modeling, which seems to be very out of character for her, but we're all allowed weak moments, so I appreciated that authenticity. The worst thing that both Jodie and Mac ever did was to place bets against DiMartino having a heart attack at some point during the charity roller hockey game. Thankfully, he only blew out his knee, but I think that that's a little messed up to wish for someone's downfall like that just to win money. The best scene that sticks out to me for both of these characters is in the episode I Loathe a Parade. Jodie says that it's great that they keep electing them as homecoming king and homecoming queen, but obviously there's sarcasm to it. Max says, yeah, it's a very generous and enlightened gesture. It completely makes up for the town's utter lack of diversity.
Play into this stupid charade any more than we have to.
What happened?
Oh, what the hell? We may be tokens, but we're damn good looking ones.
This is really what I loved so much about Daria and still do to this day. It's what's awesome about it. It really made a lot of pointed commentary targeted at a specific age group who watched MTV when it was fresh on the air. Then it started to rerun on channels like Noggin, or it started to rerun on channels in Canada for, I would say, the generation right after me as a millennial. So now, to see the show making a comeback on Paramount Plus or Pluto TV, or people who are coming across the series DVD set, or other methods in which people are finding the show Daria, I find that a lot of these messages are echoing to this day. The only differences are the ways that technology have progressed, but it all still feels very real and organic. Unlike a comment on Reddit that I saw calling this Jodie project woke washing and claiming it would be against that token status that Jodie herself hated, I will reserve my judgment for actually watching it, and I think, especially with a really great cast list, that this could be something special. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what your favorite episode of Daria is, and if you're looking forward to this Jodie spinoff.